Hey, thanks for tuning back into Channel 3. My name is Brantendo64, and it is now my favorite month of the year, December. That means holidays like Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Yule, Festivus, and of course the holiday that I celebrate every year, Christmas. And I know what you're thinking, Brantendo, you're atheist, you can't celebrate Christmas. And my response to that is, unless you're pagan, Christmas ain't your holiday either, son. With that being said, it seems as though Christmas or winter-themed levels are a staple in Nintendo games. Almost every major first-party title on the N64 had a winter, Christmas, or snowy-themed level. And that's why tonight, I'm going to be talking about my favorite holiday, winter, snowy-themed levels from non-holiday, winter, snowy-themed games. Games that specifically reference Kwanzaa and Hanukkah are pretty scarce as far as I know. But the game we're talking about today doesn't explicitly reference or mention Christmas all that much anyway, so let's just call this an all-inclusive episode and enjoy it together. All 5 of us. But before we get any further, we here at Channel 3 are just 16 followers away from hitting the big 200. And you can help us get there by the end of the year. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel. And maybe like this video. Be like a Christmas gift. Cool? Let's blow this cartridge. The game we're talking about today, Diddy Kong Racing, actually has 5 winter-themed levels within one snowy central hub. 3 regular racing tracks, a battle track, and of course, a boss racing stage. In order to access this snowy area, you first have to speak to Taj, a magical talking elephant genie. Once you speak to Taj and jump on a plane, you can then access the area called Snowflake Mountain. Or of course, as my conservative uncle would call it, SJW Mountain, where I experienced the closest thing I have to snowfall because I live in Los Angeles, where summer ends in December because climate change is fucking real. The first track here is called Everfrost Peak. I have a love-hate thing with this level. It has some pretty cool twists and turns, but it's pretty straightforward for the most part. The first thing you'll notice before the race even begins is that the trees are decorated with little holiday ornaments. The strangest thing about this level for me is that since I was a kid, I legitimately believed that most of the track was made of water, and that if you chose the car, you'd slowly float through the level, losing the race as a result. As it turns out, this is ice. And I actually get through this track quicker with the car than I do with the plane. I figured this out while I was filming this video, and now my mind is blown. The level shares the same music as Snowball Valley, which we'll talk about later, but you know what? The music from Snowball Valley rules, so it's all good. The second level in this area is called Walrus Cove. This is my second favorite level, after Frosty Village, which we'll talk about later. As soon as the level starts, you're greeted by these beautiful lanterns lighting up the transitional cavern. What makes this level badass is that it has these loops made of ice, and when you drive on them, you get a cool ass boost that takes you to the end of the loop. It seriously never gets old. Playing this game as a kid, I used to try to stack 3 blue boost balloons and activate them right before hitting the loop to get some sort of quad boost effect, but in all honesty, it doesn't really work that way. The loop is programmed to take you through at a particular speed, so you don't actually gain momentum by using the balloons before the loop, but it still feels cool to do. Also, it loops around a later part of the level, so if you're far enough ahead of the other racers by the time you get to that part, you get to see them barely going through the loop and laugh at them as you leave them in a cloud of your dust. The third track in Snowflake Mountain is Snowball Valley. This level here is a short one, but it's extremely fast-paced. As soon as Tick Tick says, the level's music hits, which is at a considerably faster tempo than the music from the other tracks, except Everfrost Peak, because it's the same song. And it really sets the swift tone of the level. This level has one huge shortcut, and honestly, it's absolutely necessary if you want a significant advantage in the race. Not only is it just a shorter route to the end of the track, it also provides you with 2 blue boost balloons that aren't available on the other route. And stacking the 2 balloons sets up a perfect opportunity to launch off the floor booster and into this section here, which adds another layer of urgency to the level as you have to dodge these 2 giant snowballs with all of that momentum from the boost you just hit. The level also allows for a tiny bit of exploration, which I think we all know by now, I love. Okay, I mean, there's not really much to explore here, but it's a racing game. Too much exploration would cause you to lose the race, so this little section here does it for me. Now, the last racing track before facing the area's boss is Frosty Village. It alone is one of my favorite winter levels of all time. The music is amazing, and this section right here is my favorite part of this entire level. Right when the level begins, you approach and eventually drive by these little houses. I lost tons of races as a kid trying to find my way into one of them. These little houses for me completely embody the feeling of Christmas, or holidays in general, really. The way the cold blue setting contrasts with the warm bright lights illuminating from the windows, and that huge full moon lighting up the backdrop, I mean, come on. Whatever the folks that live there are celebrating, I want to be a part of it. Plus, if you collect enough bananas and balloons, you can totally fly off this hill. Look at this. This level has a lot of really cool shortcuts too. Some of them are even exclusively accessible to particular vehicles. This is one of the few times that choosing a hovercraft would actually be beneficial. But this one in particular takes a bunch of practice because you can often get lost taking it, and hitting all of the boosters is almost impossible for me. Alright, now we face the boss. See this walrus guy? He's the SJW Mountain boss. I'm almost 100% sure that this is where I learned how to cuss as a kid, because fuck that guy. First of all, he literally starts off the race by cheating. He gets a head start every damn time. On top of that, even if you do manage to get ahead in this first little area, his big ass blocks the camera, making it harder to focus. To the point at which I kinda even let him get ahead of me so I can see correctly. What makes this level difficult is that you either have to race it perfectly or get the right power-ups at the right times in order to shoot him while he's in front of you. This level is also extremely fast-paced, and it doesn't really leave much room for error. It's relatively short, as it only has one lap, but it does have a bunch of little bumps and 2 slippery ice caverns. Now what makes this level even more difficult, for me at least, is that you have to use the goddamn hovercraft on it. Whereas most of the other levels in Snowflake Mountain, I typically use the car or plane. So by the time I get to this level, I'm not used to the hovercraft controls. And even if I were used to the controls, I kinda just think they suck. And finally, as a bonus, we have a classic party battle track. The goal here is to take out all 3 of the other players in the arena with power-ups. If you're a dirty player like me, the best part of this battle is right at the beginning. When you start, a red balloon is typically lined up right in front of you, and if you hit the right boost and get red balloon before the guy in front of you does, you can smash him in the face with a rocket, instantly taking a point away. And like I said, it's a dirty trick, but come on, I take my W's where I can get them. This stage has 3 floors, and the map doesn't tell you which floor your enemies are on, so there's always an element of unpredictability every time you turn a corner. The floor is made of ice, as it is of course a winter-themed level, but the game's physics acts as though it's a normal floor, so that you're not, slipping and sliding all over the place. When you're playing single player, the AI typically really sucks, so it isn't much of a challenge. However, this makes for a fun and challenging party game when you're playing with real people. The only hindrance being, of course, is that, just like the rest of the levels, you can't enjoy the music if playing with multiple people due to the limitations of the Nintendo 64. You could always just set up a set of speakers next to your Christmas tree, menorah, or Kanara and play the music that way though. Well, there you have it. That concludes Snowflake Mountain and all it encompasses. With that being said, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm quickly approaching my goal of hitting 200 subscribers by the end of the year, but I can only do it with your help. Once again, thanks for tuning back into Channel 3. I'm Brantano64, and I won't quite wish you happy holidays yet because I will see you 1 or 2 more times before the holidays conclude. But until then, enjoy the season and all the joy it brings. Let's blow this cartridge.
Hey, you very good!